still speaking so we can make time for all the public testimony we're hearing tonight. Based off of our current list, we have roughly 30 people speaking tonight, so I want to make sure we hear from the breadth of them. And then as a reminder, again, you may also submit testimony via email. So if you want to add on anything that you said tonight, additional detail, maybe your testimony is beyond a 3-minute, something you can get within 3 minutes, you can always send follow-up there as well. Or if you choose last moment that you don't want to do public testimony here tonight, you can just submit via written. Please remember this is a listening session. It's meant to serve as a way for the commission to hear input on the maps. Any aggressive, inappropriate behavior or foul language will result in immediate removal from the meeting. And then once you complete your testimony, you'll be moved back and are still welcome to observe the remainder of the meeting. You may see like a spinning wheel icon once you get put back to attendee. You don't need to touch anything. The system will sort out itself and put you back to the attendee position. And the commission will be focused on listening to our speakers tonight. So the chat and raise hand features of Zoom have been disabled for the meeting. As stated in the registration, screen sharing is also not allowed. Meeting is not unfortunately being streamed to our YouTube channel as per normal due to some tech difficulties on our end, but it is still being recorded. So all of tonight will be posted on our YouTube channel after we finish. So now with all that, I'll pass it over to Maryland Department of Planning's Assistant Secretary of the State Data and Analysis Center. You have a very long title, Al. Allison Dara, to present the maps we have received from the public up until 10 a.m. this morning. In their analysis and considerations, commission members will be relying on public input, so we encourage those testifying tonight to comment directly on the maps presented today. So Al, take it away whenever you're ready.
Could I interrupt for 1 second?
Go ahead.
Excuse me, Deputy Secretary. I think we are now live streaming. Is that correct? I saw something at the top of my screen a couple of minutes ago that indicated. So
it is live streaming now, yes.
Oh, so it got fixed.
Yeah,
okay, so we are now live on YouTube.
I wanted to apologize to the folks who were trying to watch live, who are not in the Zoom. We had some technical difficulties, and that's the bad news. The good news is you haven't really missed anything so far. Sorry, I'll take it away.
Thank you, sir. And thank you. And respected members of the commission, I have a few maps that I would like to present. And these are new maps and also revisions of the maps that were previously submitted, which I'll be presenting shortly. And before I start my presentation of the maps, I just want to orient you with the classification of the maps that can be classified into 3 categories. The first category of maps are maps that came with a map and pertinent data for us to look at the distribution of population by districts. The second category of maps came with a block equivalency file, but no linked data. For those maps, district population is not displayed. And the third category of maps are just submissions of an image. So there's going to be no data about those maps. With that said, I will start presenting the maps. This map is a revision submitted by Sarahia Ben. We looked at this map last time, and this map came with a note saying that this map was drawn based on the communities of interest being in one district. That's how this map was drawn. So that's that. Let's go to the next one. Again, this map is a revision submitted by Mary and Stefan. The map number at the top is the same number that's listed on the Redistricting Commission's website. They'll all post on the website as well. This is a revision submitted by Mary and Stefan. And based on the submission, the district populations for each district vary about 0.7%, actually 0.07 of a percent point. And based on the submission also, like there are 3 districts that are going to be minority districts, districts 4, 5, actually 7 and 8, 4 districts that are going to be minority, district 4, 5, 7, and 8. And of those 4 districts, 2 of those districts 5, and 7, the more than half the population are going to be African American, the way they are drawn. Oh, I apologize. I might have clicked the link here. Let me bring back the presentation up here. Okay, there we go. So again, map 9, this was looked at last time. This was submitted by Riley Jeffries. This is a revision of a previously submitted map. And the variation in the population for each of the district is around 300th of a percentage point. Of these maps, 3 of the maps are drawn as minority districts, districts 4, 5, and 7. And all these 3 districts have at least half the population as African American. This map was submitted last time as well. And again, like this was submitted as a revision. This map was submitted anonymously. And this time around, we received a block equivalency file. And the block equivalency file wasn't joined with data. So no data is displayed for this map. Map 35. These are new submissions from this point on. This map was submitted by Shiv Shapiro, and there are a handful of maps this individual has submitted. I'll go through them one by one. And based on this submission, the deviation for the ideal population for each district varies by about 3 or 4. Based on the submission, there are 4 districts that are going to be minority districts, districts 4, 5, 7, and 8. And of those 4 districts, 2 districts, districts 4 and 5, half the population is at least African American. This is another version of the map, 35B, submitted by Steve Shapiro. Based on this submission, the variation in population for each district is about 1/10 of a percentage point. And in this submission, 2 of the districts are going to be minority districts. And of those 2 districts, districts 4 and 5, district 5's population is at least more than half the population is African American. Another version of a map submitted by Steve Shapiro. Based on the submission, the deviation in population is about 3 or 4 individuals per district. And 2 of the districts are drawn as minority districts, districts 4 and 5. And district 5's population is more than half of the population is African American. And this map is a revision of the previously submitted map 35C, C1. So this is a slight modification in the submission. The distribution of the population is still around the same. Still identifies district 4 and 5 as minority districts, with district 5's population more than half the population as African American. Slight variation in distribution of percentages. Another map by Steve Shapiro. Based on this submission, the deviation in population for each district is around 1/10 of a percentage point. And 3 of the districts drawn are going to be minority districts, districts 5, 7, and 8. And of those 3 districts, only district 5 has a population of 50% or more African American. This is the last version, I believe, that was submitted by Steve Shapiro. This map, deviation in population is 5/10 of a percentage point. And based on this submission, 4 of the districts are minority districts, districts 4, 5, 7, and 8. And of those 4 districts, districts 4 and 7 have at least half the population as African American. 35. This map was submitted by Diego Costa. The deviation in population is only about 3 or 4 individuals per district. Based on the submission, districts 4, 7, and 8 are going to be minority districts, and District 4's population is more than 50% African American. This map was submitted by Dave Coons. Based on the submission, about 1/10 of a percentage point in deviation for population by district, and 3 of the districts are drawn as minority districts, districts 4, 5, and 7. Of these 3 districts, districts 4 and 7 have at least 50% African American population. I believe this is the last map for tonight. This map was submitted by Howard Gorel. Based on the submission, the deviation in the districts is about 2/10 of a percentage point for each district variation. And 4 of the districts are drawn as minority districts, districts 4, 5, 7, and 8. Of those 4 districts, only District 5's population is more than 50% African American. This concludes all the maps we have received so far as of the cutoff date and time. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Assistant Secretary Sandara. So with that, we will begin the public testimony portion of tonight's meeting. We'll begin promoting the first panelist, which on our list is Erica Puentes. Just a reminder before we do so, you'll see a little pop-up box once the invite is sent to you, so please accept, unmute when you come in. And we encourage those in attendance to testify, to comment on the maps presented tonight by Assistant Secretary Sandara. So, Erica Puentes, I just sent you your panelist link. Please accept and unmute.
Good afternoon, Commission members. My name is Erica Puentes, and I'm from Baltimore City. I want to thank Acting Chair Frosch, Chair Alsobrooks, and the members of the Commission for the opportunity to testify. I testified a few weeks ago about my experience working with Progressive Maryland's Healthcare Task Force. The Healthcare Task Force organized with constituents in Maryland's 1st Congressional District to urge Andy Harris to oppose the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. Unsurprisingly, Andy Harris became one of the key players in advancing one of the most monstrous reconciliation bills in recent U.S. history. And not only are his constituents' lives negatively impacted, but so are the lives of the 200,000 Marylanders who are projected to lose their health insurance. And I want to reiterate what I said previously. If you wonder whether redistricting over 1 congressional seat is worth it, I urge you to consider that the 200,000 Marylanders who are going to lose their health insurance are certainly worth it. And the support and money that the reconciliation bill takes from Marylanders, the cuts to healthcare, it's being used to fund ISIS terror campaigns on our immigrant and Black and Brown communities. It's the money the reconciliation bill is taking from our pockets and from the state that is allowing Trump's Gestapo to shoot mothers in the head in Minneapolis. It's that money that we are losing that is being used to brutalize and illegally detain racially profiled U.S. citizens here in Maryland, to drag mothers out of car door windows here in Maryland, to leave kids with without their parents, to rip Maryland families apart. I want to urge Senate President Ferguson, when you are thinking about whether redistricting over 1 congressional seat is worth it, I urge you to consider that the multitude of lives that make up Maryland's Black, Brown, and immigrant communities are worth it too. Marylanders do not want to continue funding against our will the violent attacks on our communities. Again, for many of us, allowing Trump's tyrannical rule to go unchecked is a life or death situation. Our state must redistrict to protect us. In the words of our speaker, Jocelyn Peña-Melnick, redistricting isn't just a matter of practical politics. It is the humane thing to do for our freedom, and our democracy in this country demands it. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome, Chair also Brooks.
Thank you. Our next attendee that we have is Lisa Fuller. Lisa, I will go ahead and promote you. I am showing that you have at least 5 sign-ins on here, so I'm going to choose to promote one and hopefully it's the right one. When you see the pop-up, please accept. It says you declined. I'll send it to another. Please accept and unmute.
Lisa,
Okay,
you're
I'm
still
showing
muted.
that Lisa Fuller has declined to be promoted as a panelist, so we'll move
Oh,
on to the next.
Mary, she's on our screen currently,
Oh,
so I'll give her a
okay.
moment if she wants to unmute. She might be experiencing some tech difficulties on her end.
I apologize. I'm here 5 times. Hi, my name is Lisa Fuller, and I'm from Montgomery County, Maryland. I want to thank Chair Also Brooks and members of the commission for the opportunity to testify. I am the second vice president of the Women's Democratic Club and their communications chair, and I'm the founder of Indivisible MoCo Women in 2017. Not a day goes by that I am not worried, scared, and involved in any way that I can to find a solution to what is happening in our country. Members of both of my organizations are equally involved. That is a lot of your constituents. We step up at a moment's notice. We were out at Rockville Pike and in Olney last weekend to try to rally against ICE. Maryland now has the opportunity to do the same. You know that Republican-led states and this administration are engaged in an all-out assault on our democratic norms and institutions. Congressional redistricting, gerrymandering maps is an attempt to prevent their political opposition from taking office in an attempt to shield their unpopular agenda from the will of the voters. It's past time that Maryland, my state where I've lived my entire life, join forces with other states like California and Virginia in fighting back against this Republican-led power grab. We must move forward, small but mighty Maryland, to defend against this onslaught. And should it be that a single voice in the state of Maryland can prevent this from happening, I am really unclear on how that is possible. And I have to equate it to the single voice on Capitol Hill, the president of the House, of the House, Mike Johnson, is doing just the very same thing. I am not a politician. I do not understand this, and I beg you to let this go forward because everyone I speak to, and it's a lot of people every single day, your constituents want this to go forward. I support the David Kuhn's map. It incorporates the feedback presented by advocates last week and gives attention to Maryland's communities. David Kuhn's from Montgomery County, his map strengthens community representation, particularly for water-based communities, Baltimore City, the Capital Region, and fast-growing economic corridors. I will be advocating many times with advocacy groups in Annapolis coming up next week, so I will see you there. Thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, thank you. Next on our list is Crystal Peters. Crystal, you've been sent your panelist link.
All right. Thank you, members of the Governor's Redistricting Advisory Commission. My name is Crystal Peters. I am the Action Vice President for Maryland National Organization for Women, Maryland's statewide chapter for now. I am here today on behalf of our members across the state to strongly support moving forward with congressional redistricting and specifically with the David Kuhn's map number 37. Redistricting is not an abstract exercise. It is about power, resources, and whether Maryland has a real voice in Washington. Across the country, Republican-controlled legislatures in Florida, Texas, Missouri, Ohio, and North Carolina are aggressively redrawing their maps right now to lock in political advantage for the next Congress. Florida alone is moving to gain up to 5 new Republican seats. If Maryland does nothing, we are not staying neutral. We are allowing other states to rig the field against us. That has real consequences for funding for hospitals, schools, and transit, for the protection of federal workers, immigrants, and women, for whether Congress can act as a real check on the corruption and chaos coming out of the Trump White House. Map 37, the David Kuhn's map, is a responsible, lawful, and community-focused response to this moment. It reflects the feedback advocates have given prior. It improves representation for water-based communities, Baltimore City, the capital region, and fast-growing economic corridors. It is not extreme. It is not rushed. It is exactly the kind of map Maryland should put forward. We also need to be honest about public support. Despite claims to the contrary, 54% of Marylanders support moving forward with redistricting, and 68% of Democratic primary voters strongly support it. This is not a fringe position. That is a majority of the people this government is supposed to represent. That brings me to the issue of transparency. Senate President Bill Ferguson has publicly claimed that this process is predetermined and lacks transparency, yet at the same time, the New York Times has reported that the Senate does not even plan to vote on redistricting at all. Those two things cannot be true. If this process is truly predetermined, then the solution is simple: hold a public Senate vote. Let senators debate. Let them go on record. Let Marylanders see where their elected officials stand for or against protecting our state's voice in Washington. Right now, from the perspective of advocates who have shown up, written in, and testified, the only thing that looks predetermined is the effort to block a vote entirely. This is a defining moment, not just for this map, but for public trust. If other states can vote openly on their maps, then Maryland can too. So on behalf of Maryland Now, we urge this commission to move forward with map 37, and we call on Senate leadership to allow a
Thank you. Our next speaker we have is Travis Simon. Travis, I'm promoting you to a panelist. Please accept and unmute.
Good afternoon. My name is Travis Simon, and I'm the Executive Director of SEIU Local 500, and we represent over 20,000 members. Thank you, Acting Chair Frosch and the members of the Commission for the opportunity to testify today. I'm here to support David Kuhn's map and urge the General Assembly to act on it during this legislative session. Overall, this map reflects a clear effort to improve representation by aligning communities with shared interest and realities. It is evident that care was taken to ensure districts make sense for the people who live in them, rather than being drawn for convenience or political expediency. What I want to focus on today is the urgency of this moment. Across the country, Republican-led states are reopening and redrawing congressional maps to lock in power ahead of this year's election. Florida's actions have made it clear that this is no longer hypothetical. It's already happening. Maryland is in a unique position. We have the ability to act now through a public process to protect our representation and our influence in Congress. If we do not act during this session, we are effectively choosing to let other states determine the balance of power without response. The Commission has done its work. The public has engaged. Now the responsibility lies with the legislature. I respectfully urge Senate President Ferguson to allow this map to move forward and to bring it to a vote during the legislative session. Thank you for listening and for your service.
Next on our list is Larry Stafford. Larry, you've been sent your panelist link. Please accept and unmute.
Hi, my name is Larry Stafford. I'm from Prince George's County, Maryland. I want to thank Acting Chair Frosch and the members of this commission for allowing me to speak today. I'm here to express my strong support for the Dave Kuhn's map and for the process that produced it. Last week, advocates requested changes to the Stephen Wolf Map C, and we are grateful that a new map was submitted that reflected those changes. This map reflects a serious thoughtful effort to align Maryland's congressional districts with how people actually live, work, and organize their lives across the state. The Dave Coons map does an excellent job respecting communities of interest while balancing population realities and geographic logic. It recognizes that different regions of Maryland face different challenges and avoids forcing together communities that do not share economic, cultural, or any other types of interests together. Montgomery County, our most populated county, and our economic continues to have 3 members of Congress in this map, and the line between District 6 and 8 runs along I-270, a natural break in our county. It also preserves the I-270 commuter corridor from Frederick to Montgomery County. Fort Meade, Columbia along 32 is one big community and is together in this map. Upper Harford County, Cecil, and Upper Baltimore County are kept together, aligning rural and semi-rural communities with similar land use and development pressures. Southern Maryland remains intact, preserving regional cohesion and shared priorities. Finally, this map preserves our state's 2 majority Black districts while also increasing the voting, increasing the Black voting age population in the 5th district, making it likely that Maryland could send 3 African Americans to Congress. Beyond the map itself, I want to emphasize why acting now is so critical. Republican-led states are actively redrawing congressional maps ahead of the next election, with Florida actively in the process of redistricting with the goal of eliminating 5 Democratic-held seats and providing a clear and immediate example. These actions are reshaping the national political landscape in real time. Maryland is one of the only states with the ability to respond during this legislative session through a lawful, transparent process grounded in public input. Choosing not.
Thank you for that. Our next speaker is Lee Finney. Lee, I am promoting you to a panelist. Please accept and unmute.
Okay. Hello, my name is Lee Finney. I live at Riderwood Village in Silver Spring in Montgomery County, Maryland. I want to thank the commission for the opportunity to testify on this important issue. I too want to speak in support of the Dave Kunis number 37 map that has incorporated the suggested changes from the testimony last week to make the map more equitable for maritime communities and for specific economic corridors. I have previously testified in support of Maryland's redistricting, period, based on the importance of both fair and equitable representation for Marylanders, but primarily because of the importance of generating every possible vote to offset Republican redistricting that is going on in other states, as others have pointed out, before the midterm elections. I hope there can be a public discussion and an open and fair vote in the Maryland Senate on this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our list is Matt Heyman. Matt, you've been sent your panelist link. Please accept and unmute.
Please unmute when you have a moment.
Hate when that happens. I apologize. Thank you, Chair Elsa Brooks and members of the commission. I'm a longtime Maryland resident. I've been active in advocating for gun violence prevention, addressing homelessness, and supporting STEM education opportunities for students around Maryland. I have adult children and 8 grandchildren in Maryland. Their futures are on the line in your actions and that of the Maryland Senate regarding redistricting. Under ordinary circumstances, this group wouldn't even exist, and I wouldn't be speaking out on behalf of redistricting. Under ordinary circumstances, I'd be more likely to speak out against another redistricting effort so soon after the most recent changes. But these are not ordinary circumstances. Far from it. Pretenses about fairness, about democracy have evaporated. As we're reminded every day, our norms and institutions are under attack, especially in Republican-led states. We are in the unimaginable situation where our voices as Marylanders are being quashed. Our representation in Congress is in jeopardy because Republicans seek to gain up to 5 GOP states. You've heard some of the data. I know you know it well. I won't repeat it. Simply, Maryland is the only state capable of moving right now, and it's imperative that we do so. We deserve a voice in determining whether or not the person occupying the White House, who is steamrolling lawmakers, gets to handpick his own Congress. Representation matters because outcomes follow. And Marylanders, we are suffering tangible damage from the actions of Donald Trump and those in Congress content to simply do his bidding. So I support the David Coons number 37 map, which pays appropriate attention to Maryland's variety of communities. It is thoughtful and fair. We have the ability to move fast. There is no legal reason that prevents us from acting now. If we don't do anything, it won't be neutrality, it'll be surrender. I urge the Commission to redraw Maryland's maps to ensure voters are heard fairly and accurately. Go with David Coons number 37 map. I also speak in favor of transparency by this Commission and our legislators. I very much want to see the Senate held to the same standard of transparency that we talked about. It's simple. Other states are holding open votes. We have to do the same. I urge Senator Ferguson to allow Marylanders. We deserve to hear a public debate among our own elected leaders about whether they are for or against the Commission's recommendations. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your hard volunteer work.
Thank you. Next to speak, we have Sandra Silberman. I'm sending you an invite. Please accept and unmute. If you could please unmute when you're ready.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners. My name is Sandy Silberman, and I represent Indivisible Route 1 Corridor as part of the larger Indivisible National Organization. I am definitely in favor of redistricting, as are, I understand, 68% of Democratic primary voters. I'm in favor of the Dave Coons map, number 37, for its fairness and thoughtfulness. The chaos and inhumanity brought by the Trump administration is despicable, and this sentiment is held by the majority of Maryland voters. We believe this is an extremely critical time to stand up for democracy. We expect our legislators to represent us by doing just that during this legislative session. We deserve a public debate, an open vote on redistricting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next on our list is Mary Jane Monk. Mary Jane, I just sent you your panelist link. Please accept and unmute.
Hi, my name is Mary Jane Monk, co-facilitator of the Defend Democracy Action Team of Indivisible Howard County, and I live in Columbia, Maryland. Thank you for allowing me to testify. Let me start by saying I absolutely hate that we have to do this. I'm never for gerrymandering. I'm never for this, but it's a must-do right now if we're going to win the House this year and slow the descent of our democracy that we're experiencing. This process will determine political power. There are partisan actors acting on the direction of President Trump in Republican states, and now we have Florida adding, maybe even adding 5 more GOP seats, so we have to act now. And updating our congressional maps here protects Marylanders, ensures our state maintains a strong independent voice in Washington. It helps with including funding for hospitals, public schools, all those essential services. We need to preserve the political strength necessary to push back against these harmful federal policies and actions, attacks on our federal workers, immigrant communities, even the state of Maryland itself. I support David Kuhn's map 37. It has taken important information from advocates into account. It strengthens community representation. It considers water-based communities, Baltimore City, fast-growing economic corridors. It respects communities of interest, and it makes sense. This is a defining moment in our country, and Maryland must do everything it can to be on the right side of history. Every vote, every voice counts. This is about saving our democracy, full stop. Senate President Ferguson must hold an open vote so we know where our senators stand. We understand the risks inherent in taking action on this, but we are asking this body to act and for the Senate to hold an open vote. This is what it means to stand up for your constituents, to defend democratic representation, to fight back in defense of our values and our democracy. Maryland can't stand idly by while our nation's democracy erodes. We have to fight back against Republicans rigging our elections. Without decisive action, we will see a continuation of policies that damage our economy, erode civil rights, and undermine the foundations of our democracy. Maryland's leaders are right to stand firm and resist these Republican-led efforts to rig the 2026 midterms and perhaps beyond. Thank you so much, and thank you for your work.
Thank you. Next to speak is Chris Cano. I'm sending you an invite. Please accept and unmute.
Hi, my name is Christopher Cano, and I have been a resident of Anne Arundel County for the past 7 years. Thank you to the members of the commission for the opportunity to testify today. I'm here to express my support for the David Kuhn's map and for the public, transparent process that has guided its development. This map demonstrates that it's possible to take public feedback to create a map that respects communities of interest, reflects population realities, and draws districts that make sense without sacrificing fairness or clarity. It reflects public input and careful consideration, which strengthens both public trust and the map's durability. I also want to be clear about why action during this legislative session is essential. Other states are already moving forward with redistricting designed to shape the next election cycle. Florida's recent actions to redistrict away up to 5 seats underscores how quickly the national landscape is changing. It is usually ignored in the broader conversation that North Carolina has already redistricted away a seat. These efforts in other states underscore an overreach by the executive branch to push an agenda that seeks to undermine democracy by avoiding legislative accountability and upsetting the checks and balances that have made our Constitution stand strong for the past 250 years. Maryland cannot afford to sit on the sidelines. We're one of the only states positioned to act now, and failing to do so weakens our voice in Congress and diminishes our ability to protect Marylanders' interests. This is not about rushing, it is about responsibility. The commission has done its work, and the public has shown up. Now it's the time for the Senate to do its part. I respectfully urge Senate leadership, including you, Senate President Ferguson, to move this map forward and allow a vote during the current legislative session. Thank you for your consideration and for the opportunity to be heard.
Thank you. Next on our list is Nikki Cole. Nikki, you've been sent your panelist link. Please accept and unmute.
Okay. Members of the committee, chair and vice chair, thank you so much for this chance to testify. I am also supporting David Kuhn's map number 37. My name is Nikki M.G. Cole. I live in Baltimore now. I was born in Montgomery, raised in Prince George's, Frederick, and Washington counties growing up. I'm a real Marylander here. And I want to urge us to redistrict our congressional map now, but to do it with transparency, like everyone else has been saying, and with legal rigor that protects voters and protects our state. I want to start by acknowledging the concerns Senate President Bill Ferguson has raised. He warned that mid-cycle redistricting carries serious legal and political risk, that the timeline is tight, the downside could be catastrophic, including the possibility of litigation that could destabilize the map Maryland already has. And I hear that, and those risks are real. But like everyone else is bringing up here, the national context makes inaction way riskier. We're watching the U.S. Supreme Court weigh a Louisiana redistricting case that could further weaken Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, a key protection against maps that dilute minority voting power. According to NPR, a ruling weakening Section 2 could put at least 15 House districts represented by Black members of Congress at risk. And Black representation in the House has grown to 63 districts, about 14% in the modern era, largely because of the Voting Rights Act enforcement. So Maryland shouldn't wait until those guardrails erode nationwide and then scramble to fix it later. I'm not asking for us to redistrict recklessly. I'm asking that we do this responsibly in the open way with these public maps, clear criteria, full legal review. I want to be specific, though, about what's being debated here. Maryland has one Republican held U.S. House seat, District 1, currently represented by Andy Harris. This is the district covering the entire Eastern Shore plus Harford County and part of Baltimore County. Maryland's current effort is explicit that a new map would likely aim to make District 1 more competitive, potentially opening a path for Democrats to hold all 8 seats. But more competitive, I want to say, does not mean silencing. The Eastern Shore isn't a bargaining chip. Western Maryland is an afterthought, places where I'm from and grown up. My standard as a Marylander is this, that communities should be able to elect leaders who will fight for their needs, and communities of color shouldn't lose influence because the rules shift nationally. So finally, I want to say that I agree with Governor Moore, his point that Maryland shouldn't be playing by a different set of rules. So if other states are redrawing for advantage, that's also why I support regional coordination at a bare minimum.
Thank you. Next to speak is Michael Huggins. Michael, I'm sending you an invite. Please accept and unmute.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Huggins. I'm a Maryland resident from Hyattsville, Maryland. Thank you to Chair also Brooks and the members of the commission for the opportunity to testify today. I'm the Deputy Senior Director of Policy and Government Affairs at Color of Change, the nation's largest online racial justice organization. I'm here today in support of the David Coons map and the direction it takes Maryland. At the behest of President Trump, several states, including Texas, Missouri, North Carolina, and Florida, have signed off or have indicated that they will be working on new congressional maps designed to help Republicans gain more seats in Congress in the 2026 elections. This is an attack on our democracy. The David Coons map reflects thoughtful consideration of how Maryland's communities are connected and how representation can be strengthened. It also provides additional congressional representation for places like Baltimore, who have for years been under-resourced and neglected at a national level. This matters when it comes to who's in the room advocating, while having more people requesting earmarks for Baltimore. But it also prioritized clarity, fairness, and the real-world connections between people and places, which is exactly what voters expect from a responsible redistricting process. But most importantly, it protects Marylanders and our voices in Washington. Maryland is not powerless in this environment. In fact, we are one of the few states that can actually do something right now in a way that is lawful, transparent, and grounded in public input. Choosing not to act is still a choice, and it carries real consequences for Marylanders. We are calling on our Democratic leaders to stand up, fight back, and protect the people. We need Maryland to protect our vote, our resources, and our power. And we need you all to stand up for the people in Maryland. We need you to stand up for the promise of democracy for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ben Vaughn. Ben, you've been sent your panelist link. Please accept and unmute. Before Ben starts, based off of our current attendee list, we have 5 more public testifiers after Ben finishes.
Hi,
Ben, you can go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Ben Vaughn. I support mid-cycle redistricting in the strongest possible terms, specifically the map submitted by David Coons. I'm an attorney and a former prosecutor in my 8th decade of life. Thank you. I'm not a radical leftist. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a democratic socialist, but I am a lifelong citizen of Maryland and this country, and I cherish democracy. And I'm going to tell you something that you don't already know. Trump is destroying democracy. He's empowered to do so by the House and Senate under GOP control. And these aren't simply statements of partisanship, and they're not theoretics, they're reality. And we saw it when Trump called Brad Raffensperger. We saw it on January 6th. We saw it when Trump issued a blanket pardon of the January 6th insurrectionists. And we see it right now unfolding in real time on the streets of Minneapolis, where ICE agents, who frankly resemble nothing so much as Proud Boys with government-issued weapons or the Gestapo, proudly commit deadly acts of violence against citizens and non-citizen residents with the smirking encouragement of Trump and Kristi Noem and J.D. Vance. Minneapolis is a city under siege, and it is also an infomercial of things to come so long as the GOP remains in control of the House and Senate and provides Trump with unfettered power. Now, they started this battle of redistricting. They are positioned to pick up as many as 19 seats in the House, and if we don't fight back, and we permit the GOP to retain control of both the House and the Senate, we will forfeit any hope of saving American democracy. And I think that's a reality. Now, I appreciate and I respect Senator Ferguson's concerns, and I share those concerns, but I do think the court has given us the green light. Well, it's given the green light to the red states and to us as well to engage in mid-cycle redistricting. And whatever distaste we may feel when we redistrict now will pale by comparison to the desperation we will absolutely feel if we do not take this measure and instead we watch this country devolve into Trump's police state. And those are our choices. This is not theoretic. It is not mere partisanship. It is our reality, and it's a reality we must face now. And so I urge in the strongest terms possible the adoption of the map proposed by David Coons, which lends well-deserved and much-needed strength to the citizens of Baltimore City and the Capital Region and the water-based areas. I also urge the Senate to call an open, public, and transparent vote on this issue. A clear majority of Maryland voters support redistricting. A clear majority of Marylanders feel the threat to our democracy, just as I do, and wish for you, their representatives, to take reasonable and lawful steps to fight back now. And redistricting is such a step. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Mary Clausen. Mary, I'm sending you an invite. Please accept and unmute.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Clausen. Last session, I had the opportunity to speak in favor of the only fair map that's on the list. It's map number 34. It's not being discussed tonight, but that was the map prepared by the Citizens Council in 2021. And it was judged as a fair map, an equitable map by the Princeton Gerrymandering Project. Tonight, I was the only one that signed up to speak that I didn't get the memo that map 37 was the only one to talk about. I get it that this is about a partisan process. This is not about a fair map. And I wonder if people are understanding what the big impact is. Maryland is not gaining people anymore. Maryland is now losing people. When the next census comes around, if that trend continues, you won't be fighting over 8 seats. You'll be hoping you still have 6 left. So if you're looking to keep Maryland visible in the electoral process, you have to keep citizens living here. If you've decided already that if we don't vote your way, you don't want us here, we're going to get the message loud and clear.
And we have money with retirees who are being, sent. We get no tax breaks to retire and stay in Maryland. My electric bill is over $800 a month now. That's not any fun because I went to the heat pump thing, which, oh, guess what? My natural gas was actually cheaper than what the heat pump is doing to me when my electric bill comes. But forget all that. The whole point is you want to silence us, we will silence you with our feet. When we move to other places and Maryland ends up with less representation, and we're a beautiful state. I hate to see this happen, but don't talk fairness and say how much you love it as you decide that partisan one vote, one state, all Democrats is the way you have to have it in the future. Don't redistrict. We have an existing map, which is not the greatest, but it's fair and it's legally will stand the test. It will not be overturned. We don't have the money to redistrict. People just got their new districts. Why do we want to disrupt that mid-term here? We can wait. Do not redistrict. It's not worth the time, money, or effort, and what you're going to do to all of the citizens of the state. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Next up, we have Danny Gollenbeck. Danny, I just sent you your panelist link. Please accept and unmute.
Good afternoon. My name is Danny Gollenbeck, and I live in Baltimore County. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Commission in strong support for map number 37, the David Coons map. Most of us believe voters pick our leaders. Politicians should not pick which voters to heed and which to silence. But this MAGA regime is attempting to silence Americans by carving our country up into districts that allow them to seize permanent power. Marylanders overwhelmingly support our brave leaders that are giving voters the power to draw the line for our communities. In contrast to other states where politicians are taking away voters' freedom to make their voices heard. Maps are just drawings, and census tracts are just numbers. These drawings and numbers affect people who should have the freedom to elect leaders that truly represent them, not only championship their causes, but also understanding the communities they represent. Map 37 strengthens those communities' representation in all regions of the state. The Maryland Senate needs to hold an open vote in a transparent process now to allow the county's Board of Elections enough time to adopt the new districts in their ballots. Thank you for the work you're doing to preserve our freedoms. When everyone, no matter what we look like, where we call home, or what's in our wallets, or which is our census tract, has the resources they need to lead a better life, the community as a whole benefits. Please support map number 37. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tom Glancy. Tom, I'm sending you an invite. Please accept and unmute.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you, commissioners, for this opportunity to address the current redistricting efforts. I am Tom Glancy. I'm a retired attorney living in Maryland's 7th Congressional District in Baltimore City. And I support adoption of the David Coons map number 37, which incorporates much of the feedback from last week's meeting and which will strengthen community representation, particularly for our water-based communities, as well as Baltimore City and the capital area. As others have mentioned, under normal circumstances, I too would oppose any gerrymandering for partisan political advantage and instead support the creation one day of independent commissions tasked with drawing district lines that favor neither political party. However, today is not that day. At the president's urging, Republican legislatures in Texas, Missouri, Ohio, North Carolina, and Florida, with our Supreme Court's apparent blessing, have engaged in heretofore rare mid-cycle redistricting efforts that could net Republicans as many as 9 new congressional seats. The only effective tool we have to counter or to at least mitigate those efforts may be to create democratically leaning districts elsewhere. And we must act now. I ask you to consider what has happened in this country just since you met last week. The DOJ has announced that it will not conduct a criminal investigation, nor will it cooperate with any state investigations into the execution-style killing of a mother of 3 in Minneapolis by an ICE agent. Instead, the president has announced that he is considering invoking the Insurrection Act so as to deploy armed military forces into yet another U.S. city. The administration has announced that it intends to run Venezuela and control its oil following military strikes without congressional authorization that resulted in the capture and removal of its head of state. It has threatened military action against Iran, Cuba, and even our ally Greenland, prompting NATO to deploy troops to defend that island territory against our threatened invasion. And it has opened an unprecedented criminal investigation against Federal Reserve Chairman Powell, following up on similar punitive actions against many of the president's other perceived political enemies. All the while, Republican-controlled Congress continues to abdicate its Article I responsibilities to rein in the executive department without a Democratic House majority to operate as a check on this president. We may wake up to the realization in November that we have traveled.
Thank you. Next on our list is Steve Shapiro. Steve, you've just been sent your panelist link. Please accept and unmute. After Steve, our last public testifier tonight is Dave Coons.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Steve Shapiro from District 16 in Montgomery County. I agree with Senator Ferguson, but I offer maps A through E as examples of compact maps that could be used if the commission determines that we must change our current map. There was a technical glitch as DRA shows all of my maps having a variation of no more than 4 residents. Map A establishes 8 districts with a Democratic margin of at least 3%. District 1 extends west into eastern Howard County but does not go into Prince George's. District 1 must go into either Howard or Prince George's to achieve a Democratic margin. Baltimore City would be District 7 and enough of District 2 to establish that Democratic margin. Maps C and C1 are refined versions of Map B, so I won't speak to Map B. These maps, Map C and C1, increase the Democratic margin to 7%. District 1 includes eastern Howard County and the Laurel Bowie areas of Prince George's County. District 8 is the rest of Howard County. District 3 has to extend into Baltimore City to achieve that 8% margin. Map C1, the 47,000 residents of District 1 in eastern Howard are, that area is moved to District 8, putting all of Howard in District 8. District 1 then picks up an additional 47,000 residents of Prince George's County. Map D refines map number 2 submitted by Brandon DiPaolo. My map D puts all of Cecil County into District 2 and restores Calvert County to District 5. All of Howard County would be in District 3. District 4 changes significantly, going from Laurel to southeast Baltimore County. District 1 would extend west to the Washington Beltway and to Anne Arundel south of Annapolis. Finally, I hope the commission does not go forward, but if it does, I do also offer Map E as a potential compromise. This Map E makes District 6 a stronger Democratic district instead of the current near toss-up. This can be done with relatively little change to the other parts of our current map. I appreciate that that is not particularly fair to Western Maryland, but none of this is. Again, I thank you very much for considering my views.
Thank you. And our last speaker for the evening is Dave Coons. Dave, I'm going to send you an invite. If you could please accept and unmute.
Hello, good evening. I'm David Kuhns, and I submitted map 37 in response to feedback from this public process. As has been mentioned, this map is intended to build on testimony from the last meeting while improving on both the LRAC map and elements of the current map. It brings similar communities together, respects political boundaries, and doesn't unnecessarily split municipalities. I want to highlight some key improvements. This map maintains 2 majority Black districts and increases Black voting age population in the 5th, likely sending 3 African Americans to Congress. Baltimore City benefits from this map by having multiple members of Congress while preserving a majority Black seat. Montgomery County, our largest county, keeps 3 representatives with clean district lines. This map ensures the Fort Meade to Columbia Tech corridor along Route 32 stays together, keeping thousands of Marylanders who work across those lines in cyber and tech. For our coastal communities, Annapolis and the Mid-Shore, they'll be united around their shared bay economies, whereas northern Prince George's and southern Montgomery will stay with Congressman Ivey on appropriations to protect our federal workforce, and our rural northern communities along the Pennsylvania line and southern Maryland would each stay intact. This creates competitive districts without unnecessarily splitting towns or snaking through counties, and I believe this is a sound map. It respects communities, it complies with the law, but the technical details don't address the central question before the commission today, and that's integrity. Earlier this week, I was reading a bedtime story to my 8-year-old son, and I could tell something was bothering him. He said, "Dad, I thought the Pledge of Allegiance says liberty and justice for all." And he looked at me and he said, "Why are the ICE people taking people away? Why are they killing protesters?" His family is lucky. His parents haven't been fired. We haven't lost SNAP benefits or planning to lose our health care, and no one has been taken from our family or been killed. But my 8-year-old already sees how unfairly people are being treated in our country. So for me, this is not about partisanship. This is about ensuring Maryland has a voice in Congress to fight for the values we teach our children, trying to ensure that those words mean something to my little boy. Maryland has the opportunity right now to send a full delegation aligned and committed to reining in this administration before it's too late. Federal decisions increasingly impact Maryland families, so we need 8 strong, unified voices in Congress that will fight for the freedoms we promised our kids. Not 7, but 8. I hope we can all tell our children that we stood up when it mattered. Please give Marylanders a public vote. Thank you for your time today.
All right, thank you. That concludes our public testimony period of tonight's meeting. I'll pass it back over to Chair Senator Alsobrooks for any closing remarks or questions.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much to the members of the commission for being on tonight. I want to certainly thank all Marylanders for your input. We really do appreciate it, as well as all the Marylanders who signed on to listen. This does conclude the all of the public testimony that we'll be taking, and unless there are any further comments here from the other members, we will be adjourned. Looks like there are none. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night.